Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Christmas Day. Welcome to our special Christmas Sunday gathering. This is a special day, not only because it's Christmas and not only because you are here, but this is the first Christmas Day Sunday gathering in the history of Sunday gatherings. So it's the most exciting place to be. Our friend Darren is with family today, but I am joined here by the beautiful Kerry McLeod, Philip Dykes, and of course, Eggnog the reindeer. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Phil, who has created our Sunday gathering for today.
Well, thank you, Sandra, and thank you, Eggnog, for that wonderful, warm welcome. You know, ladies and gentlemen, from our house to your house, Merry Christmas. And that is what our theme is about, Christmas, what it means. But we're going to do things a little bit differently because we want it to be more personal, more interactive with you guys, because that's what Christmas is about, sharing. So I hope you're going to enjoy today. And there's a little bit, we've not dropped the healing. We've just got a moment of reflection where Sandra's going to share some thoughts with you that may be personal, that may be involving all you, but also there'll be a place, a little song where we can all reflect on those loved ones and those people we have around us at the moment, because that's what Christmas is really about for myself. But Kerry McLeod is going to be doing our prayers. Myself and Kerry will be doing the mediumship, and Sandra, like always, is going to be doing everything else in the background and what you see and what you hear. So welcome to this Sunday gathering, and I'm amazed. I never realized, Sandra, that this is yet again another first that We Don't Die has achieved, and I'm proud to be part of the Sunday gathering as long and with everything else as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pass you over to the wonderful Kerry McLeod.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Sandra and Phil. It is an absolute pleasure to be delivering the first ever Christmas Day Sunday gathering. This is the day where many of us need that time of coming together. So as always, let us start our time together in prayer. Divine and ever-present creative force of life. Today, as we sit within our homes, we recognize that life has a physical form and a spiritual one. We have family and friend residing in that spiritual world. We also have family and friend residing in the physical one. Today is a day where we can bring both worlds together within our thoughts, within our hearts, and within the Sunday gathering, within this community. So through this time we have together, allow us all to gather within that prayer, within that healing, but most of all, remembering what Christmas means to us: family, love, friendship, and community. Amen.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. It's Christmas. Wow. Oh, and Phil asked me to talk a little bit about reflections today. I was thinking that you guys see me as this bright and cheery little elf, right? Eggnog over my shoulder. Well, geez, it wasn't always that way. When I was a little girl, there was a lot of Christmas magic. Santa went overboard with our family, and it was just a beautiful time. And my dad had gotten diagnosed with cancer back when I was 14, and he went into remission, which was wonderful, lived another 30 some odd years. My parents ended up getting divorced, and I, as a young adult going through high school, was pretty lousy, not a great experience like some people have. Got my heart broken a few times, went on to working very hard. But Christmas, which was once magical, turned into bah humbug. And I really was a Scrooge, and nothing irritated me more than just after Halloween when Christmas decorations would come out and then Christmas carols would come on. I mean, oh, it was awful. You know, I just wanted to fast forward through the holidays and fast forward to 2016 when I was very deep into researching the afterlife. And of course, I had already started with the podcast, We Don't Die Radio. But I can't say that Christmas magic was there. And I talk about this more in depth in my latest episode of my other podcast, Shades of the Afterlife. But I got a trip I took a trip to Banyan Retreat in the UK, and a couple years later, I met Kerry and Phil there. So I'm ever so grateful. But with my journey of looking for evidence of the afterlife and wanting to help people through grief, having the experiences I had there with it's actually three different kinds of mediumship: physical mediumship, trance mediumship, and evidential mediumship. It was just kind of the cherry on top of the cake. And there were Christmas carols played. And I think many of us can have a smell related to our favorite person, or a song that can take us right back to high school, or things like that. But somehow, magically, Christmas and Christmas carols got connected to that magical experience I had on that 5 days on that very first retreat. So as the years progressed and my relationships got closer with Scott Milligan and Darren Wynn and Kerry and Phil, which join me here today, Christmas was something magical again. I think for each one of us, if we take the time to slow down and we think that we're all on this rock that is hurling through the universe, it's just made of the basic elements. And out of that, we have so much. It's easy for our human beingness to take life for granted, isn't it? And stew about what we don't have. And especially on Christmas. I mean, there may be some people here with really fantastic families that you're all together, but there are others that not so much. So wherever you may be, may not be feeling that Christmas magic. So I just want to remind everyone in our reflection time that even if you don't believe in magic, or you're not feeling that Christmas magic, it's very real. If I could download a little thumb drive and give it to you about all the magic and wonderful, it's more than magic, actually, it's reality about our life going on after this life. But if I could give that to you, it just infuse you with that Christmas magic, you might even explode. I don't know, because it's so much. But as human beings, we have to have that faith. We have to have that faith that it's real. I brought eggnog today because if I look over my shoulders, I don't see any eggnog. I don't. But look, can you see him? He's very real. And I feel the same is true with our loved ones in the afterlife. We don't have to see them to believe in them. They are very real. In fact, if you're to look over your shoulders right now, you probably don't see anybody. But if you look into your heart, they're there with you. They are healthy, they are alive, they're well. They're probably frustrated that they can't hear everything they're trying to tell you, but they're very, very real and alive, and their love is real. I mean, this little guy over my shoulder clearly is giving me lots of loving. And through our time of reflection now, if you'd like to, we'll send some healing for sure, but take some time and ask yourself, what if? What if my loved ones were surrounding me right now? What if, I think I'm alone here on Christmas Day, but what if this room is absolutely packed with my loved ones, my ancestors, maybe some guides, whoever there is cheering you on? What if? So as we listen to our reflection song, just sit back, relax. You have an eggnog on your shoulder, and you also have lots of love. You've got some real people like Kerry, Phil, and I, but you also have so much love from that unseen world. There is a day sometime in the future that we're all going to be together again in a nice reunion with them. But until then, just remember there is some magic. Have a little gratitude in your heart, because you know what? We are super grateful that you're here today. So here's our reflection song.
It's that day, isn't it, of the year, that it holds very many different feelings for most of us. And yet here we are, North Hemisphere, with Christmas Day. Those of you that are South Hemisphere, you've already beaten us to Boxing Day. You're eating the leftovers from today. But here we are, we've our family in our home. We've left them round the fireplace as we come to spend time with our other family, this family here. Some call it a community, but we wouldn't have ever not been here. This community has kept, I know Phil and I know for others, including Sandra, this community has kept us going for probably nearly 2¾ years now. There's an incredible amount of love within this community, and that for me is what Christmas is about. I'm a little bit like Sandra. People think I'm a bah humbug, but I'm not.
Bah humbug.
Just don't like Christmas starting after Halloween. Christmas starts when the family start coming together, when those families that we've maybe not seen for some time start coming together. Now, you might be thinking that you don't have family around you right now. Now, whether they're in another country or whether they're in another world, as in the spirit world, let's just check. Hands up if you have people in the spirit world that you love and miss. I'm going to ask you just in the next 10 seconds to imagine them standing behind you watching Phil and I. And when it comes to Sandra's time, imagine them standing behind you watching Sandra. Because it's very, very real. The spirit world is very, very real. When people go to the spirit world, it leaves such a hole in our hearts and in our lives. But on this day, we can take the time. I know some of you, those frontline workers, those shift workers, are working today, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. But sometimes Christmas Day is the day where we sit and we don't have very much to do other than cook the dinner, wash the dishes,
Eat the dinner.
Tidy up behind the family. But other than that, there's more time, isn't there, for us to think about Christmases past. Well, we've heard from the spirit world so many times that the one way we keep our loved ones alive is to talk about them. Talk about them, about the memories, about the shared experiences, about the things they used to do on Christmas Day, about the things you used to get up to on Christmas Day, about that meal that used to always happen at a certain time, about those things that always were the way they were until they weren't.
They were.
This is a day where you can truly be with your family, seen and unseen. Now, I was watching a film. Some of you might be familiar with the book called The Horse, the Boy and the Mole. It's a beautiful book, very simple book, and it's written with 100% heart. And there's been a little film made out of it. It's about 30 minutes long. And I was watching that this morning when I woke up, and people were rousing and making themselves get ready for the day. And there's some phrases in this little film. And I want to read you some of it. And I think Phil had some thoughts of his. But mine is, there was a little boy and he looked into the water. And he said to the horse, "Isn't it strange how in the reflection you can only see the outside when so much happens on the inside?" And then they're playing in the snow and they're doing snow angels. Seeing a horse do snow angels now, it is something spectacular. But then the little boy says, doing nothing with friends is never doing nothing. So when you're sitting in those silent moments today, doing nothing in the company of the spirit world is never doing nothing. It's sharing something very, very important. So keep them alive. I know they're in here, and I know they're in here, and I know they're all around you, around there. But speak to your loved ones. Let them know that they're still remembered, and then you will feel them more and more.
Thank you, Kerry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas. A little over 24 hours ago, this jacket fastened. It doesn't. As you know, and a few of you will probably admit this, and you can put your hands up if you agree, that on Christmas Day, we eat and we eat and we eat. And sometimes we don't feel the best. So now you know how I'm feeling right now, because I've eaten too much. but it's all part of the fun of Christmas. And the reason that I indulge myself at Christmas, I'm not talking about the usual things of eating or drinking. We're not talking about that. We're talking about sharing time with people that are precious, but also remembering people that were precious to us, who created us to be the people that we are today. You heard a lovely song by Nat King Cole, one of my favorites. And I know a few of you here in the chat box put on that it was your favorite too. Well, it holds so many memories, and some of those memories are quite emotional. Even as I think about them now, I can feel those emotions stirring up within me, because I remember several years ago, before I met this wonderful lady here at the side of me, I spent a full Christmas to myself. And on that Christmas, it wasn't the best, because I didn't have touch with family, and where I was really isolated from friends, because I basically moved to another area to find a little bit of space for myself. Well, I remember sat in a bar one afternoon, and I never realized I was the only person in there. And I looked up and I saw the bar staff looking at me. And one of them came over and said, "I've noticed you in here a few times. Is everything okay?" And in that moment, I thought to myself, I can either pour my heart out and say how life's going wrong, and I don't know where it came from, but the words came, "I'm learning to find myself and live my life, my own life again." And in that moment, something really struck a chord with me, where it was about making the most of life, making the most of time together, reflecting on the things that I had, but still had gone. And as Kerry rightly said, sometimes we're looking at the external things. Well, there was so much going on inside that I had to take time to reflect. That's why I brought the moments of reflection in today, because it's a very personal thing that I went through. But actually, Christmas is all about friends and family. It's all about those things that we share. I've got a wonderful friend across the Atlantic. In fact, she's got somebody hanging over her shoulder with things on her head, antlers on her head at the moment, that sometimes lifts me, and I don't realize the sort of place that I'm in. And I hear a voice, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm alive, I'm living. Somebody's there to enthuse me. And I call that person Miss Velocity. And if you don't realize who that is, that's Mrs. Sandra Champlain. But what I'm trying to convey to you is that sometimes we go through tough times. We feel ourselves isolated or alone. And sometimes we shed a tear. Well, those tears are a sign of braveness, not weakness, of you being brave, that you're facing challenges, going through challenges, and you're growing, you're progressing. And we should never forget that life may have closed the door in one aspect, but actually we don't see the door that's open in front of us to a new way of living. Who did I know that I was going to meet but this wonderful young lady at the side of me? Turned my life completely around, made me an honest man. I did wake up with a bump on my head after I married her, but there we go. Bit of fun, bit of humor. But I've learned to live again. I've learned to laugh again. I've learned to love again. And that's what Christmas means to me. Sharing time, loving, laughing, having fun, making the most of every moment, enjoying those yesteryears, enjoying and remembering those people in the spirit world and who they've inspired me to be, even if I didn't see it at the time. But now I can safely look back and say, they were the making of me. So let this Christmas time be the making of you. Enjoy. Be merry. I nearly said get drunk then. Be merry. Have plenty of turkey or whatever food you're eating for your Christmas dinner. We had something different away from turkey. You know, those days that we plan everything and everything goes wrong. And we go, you know what? We'll do something simple. Turned out to be one of the best days of my life.
So far.
And it is, even in this present moment with you guys right now, it's really important, because those years ago where I felt alone, this is the sort of thing I needed: a family, a community, somebody to lift me. And ever since then, we've never failed to do something on Christmas Day, whether it's a small video, whether it's a message to somebody, we've always done something. So my message to you this Christmas is smile, be happy, enjoy, reflect, and love. Thank you for listening to.
I sure love you guys. Oh my gosh, my heart is filled with love. I never anticipated this, ladies and gentlemen, but once I decided to share what I knew about the afterlife and made my life about helping people through grief, which really is the foundation of everything that I do, magic seemed to happen in my life, these coincidences, synchronicities. And it was shame on me for not keeping a logbook of them, but there's been a bunch of them. So I do feel like once we start paying attention to others, it's like there's wind in our sails to keep on keeping on. And God has blessed me with Kerry and Phil as my friends, and they were here just a couple weeks ago, right here in this room. And the love that I feel is so great. You know, like Kerry and Phil talk about our family, this really is a family. And folks, if we were under one roof having our Sunday gathering, you better believe that we would meet afterwards with whatever beverage of cheer you wish, and we would just have a great time. We'll put on some music, maybe a little dancing, telling some stories. We are a very real community, even though we may be all the way around the world in different places. We do care. So I love and respect my physical family. They're doing what they're doing, whatever that may be. But I have a spiritual family that I have so much love for. And, you know, Kerry and Phil, you guys are right at the top of the list there. I do have my mom. I do. She's upstairs. We're going to have our Christmas dinner together. And I don't want to say this is a game, but I learned long ago, and even this is my mom's favorite tagline, don't wait for things to happen, make things happen. That's what she always says, make things happen. We can do it. And everything can be fixed. That's another thing she says. Everything can be fixed. And I believe that's true. And it starts from each one of us, not waiting for things to happen. Our human minds, they want us to suffer. They really do. You think about the past, or you think about dreading the future, or what maybe you had in the past that you don't have now. And that's kind of like the set point of our minds. I call it the voice that's in there. And so waking up on Christmas, and I'm just witnessing this between my mom and myself, how easy it is to fall into what we don't have, or what should be, or boy, I always dreamed of getting older and having everybody together, and those things didn't work out like that. But when we take some time to have that attitude of gratitude and just start brainstorming a little about how great everything is, and look what we have, and it's fun to play that gratitude game. What are we grateful for? Or funniest Christmas memories, if you want to share that with people. Or even, do you have an embarrassing Christmas moment? Does anybody have anything embarrassing that happened in Christmas? I mean, just yesterday, my Christmas tree fell over. I was up in my room and there was this big, loud boom. Yes. Oh, and the funny thing is the third year in the row that this Christmas tree has fallen over, and I've tried to do everything so that it wouldn't. So I guess I'll get a new stand. But it's not just the Christmas tree falling over. Back when I was in my 20s, I was with my dad and my sister in a big house in Florida, and he had one of those big cathedral ceilings. And my little sister and I thought, oh, let's get a really big tree. So we went out, and this was in Florida, paid a ton of money for a 14-foot tree. And back in those days, we still had an old station wagon. And so the guy from the tree place, he puts this tree on the car and ropes it down. And I was driving the car, and, young woman, young 20s. And as I was driving, I tell you, it was like slow motion. I look it through the rearview mirror, and there's the tree tumbling off the car down the highway, cars shooting to the left and to the right. And yours truly, just went into this state of total disbelief. Like that didn't happen. And I kept driving. And my sister's like, Sandra, pull over, the tree fell off the car. I mean, I was just in shock and in disbelief. And yes, we drove back, and, I should have known better than to drive that fast. But oh my gosh, thankfully nobody was wrecked by a Christmas tree. We finally got it home, and oh my gosh, we had to have somebody build a stand around it because it was so big. But it did the job. It impressed my dad when he had come back from a trip. But I'm not always the brightest bulb on the tree, ladies and gentlemen. I am a lot of fun. I put my heart into everything, but I'm not always the brightest when something goes wrong. So that's just a little secret about me and Christmas. But all I really want to share is that, like Mom says, don't wait for things to happen, make things happen. And I think we can make the magic of Christmas happen. Whether I was interested in this or not, when I felt like watching something on TV, I put on a fun Christmas movie this year. Even this morning when I woke up, Mom was still asleep. And I thought, how do I want to start this day? So I put on one of those little romantic Christmas movies. It was on Netflix. And I just woke up with love in my heart and cheer, feeling good. And having conversations that are positive, thinking about what you do have instead of what you don't have. There's plenty we don't have. But I keep this eggnog on me. I wish I could do this year round, have him with me. I don't think it'd be appropriate, not in Christmas time, but it's just that reminder to me that love is around us and we don't have to see it to know that it's there. And one of the reasons I love our Sunday gathering is because we do have the demonstration of mediumship, which we'll go into now, that different representatives from the spirit world, your family members, your friends come forward and say, we're still here, and we're going to prove that because we're going to tell you some shared memories and things, and even times that you think you're alone and they're right with you. Not too long ago, someone kissed their loved one's picture and, we didn't know it, but through, I think it was Phil, the loved one said, you just kissed my picture. It's very real. They're with us. The truth is, you may see 4 of us on screen. I'm including Eggnog. And you may hear from a handful of different spirit folks that work through Kerry and Phil, but there are thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands that are behind the scenes in the spirit world, all working with us, all inspiring us, all sending us their love. And they want us to know they're right here with us right now, and not just on Sundays and not just when you see a medium, but all the time. They can multitask. Yes, they are working and living their life in the spirit world, but they can simply multitask and be right here with us. There's a world that awaits us of wonder. It's too soon for us to go there to investigate it all, but it is something great. So when our loved ones step forward with our demonstration of mediumship, I know we all beg and plead, let it's our loved one that comes through. I don't know how they pick who's going to work for the spirit world today, but please know they're just representatives of everyone. Your loved ones are right there with you. They really are. And sometimes, maybe they can turn the lights on and off to let you know they're there, but not usually. It can show up in just a thought, a memory, something that just comes out of the blue. Sometimes you might even feel them or just kind of out of the corner of your eye, have a vision of somebody you love. They're there. They are. And we'll know when we transition just how hard it is to get through to our loved ones still on earth. So when you see Kerry or Phil work, they're going to be contacted by someone in the spirit world. They're going to use their thoughts, their memories, their feelings. And so Kerry and Phil are like the receiver, get this information, and they'll do their very best to deliver to you today who it is and what the messages are. So if you're a friend with us for the first time, or you've been with us on our Sunday gatherings before, this is pretty much how it goes. Kerry and Phil will deliver a few initial bits of information about the person that has contacted them. And yes, they are very real people. They're not balls of energy. They're very real people living in the spirit world, living their best life, best age, best health. And once you hear them say those initial first bits of information, if you can understand 100% of the information, like that's my person. Now they no longer walk this earth. They don't. That's the one requirement. They could be a friend. It could be a family member. Sometimes it's someone distant. We have to think out of the box a little. But if your soul is tugging at you that, hey, that's my person, after Kerry or Phil gives you that first initial few bits of information, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, I'm the only one, well, Kerry and Phil can see too, who presses their raise hand button. But just for fun, everybody go find your raise hand button and press it for me if you would. just to see how it works on your side. Very good. Yep, some of you are bah humbugging. I do this every week, Sandra. I'm not going to put up my hand. I know who you are. It's okay. And now it should say lower hand. So just press that and your hand goes down. For those of you who are out on your Christmas walk, just be mindful that you can accidentally press your button. That has happened before. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to get to the person that your loved one is here for. But if you're the one, I will press a button on my side that will allow you to unmute yourself. You can't see that box just yet, but there will be something if you're the one. And when you work with Kerry or Phil, your job is easy, and it's really just to listen. They're going to deliver some information that's coming through from the spirit friend, and all you need to do is say yes or no. Like, yes, I understand this information, or no, you don't. Now, Kerry and Phil, they've been at this a long time. They would love to hear a no if no is the truth. Don't feel like you have to say yes to make anyone feel good. No simply means new opportunity for them to look in and see where they might have been off with the information. So that's pretty much it. We want everybody leaving here knowing that they're bringing through messages from loved ones and not that you were the one that volunteered all this information. So I know we get excited during our medium demonstration, but if you could, just yes or no, or maybe I don't know if you're one of the people working with our mediums today. And for everybody else, if you don't receive a personal message, you actually do, because I feel that the spirit world has made it so that there's nuggets, gold nuggets within every bit of communication. There are things that I hear in some of the messages here that it's like, oh, I need that in my life. Well, take it. Taking inspiration from the spirit world is absolutely a beautiful thing. So what we like to do now is just play a piece of music. I know you've been visualizing your loved ones with you, but this is another time you can sing with them, you can dance with them, you can sit back and relax, but just have a little joy in your heart as we listen to one brief song before our demonstration of mediumship.
Merry Christmas and hello, Sandra, from everyone, from the British Elvis Presley, Shaking Stevens. God, I used to love him when I was younger, doing all his moves and everything. I used to pretend when I had her, it was like, ooh, I'm flipping about, but there we go. A little bit of fun and trivia for you. But good evening, wherever you are in the world. Merry Christmas to you all. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you, as always, but it's extra special. It's Christmas. As you can see with Sandra, snow is falling all around us. Absolutely perfect. Couldn't ask for more. My job, ladies and gentlemen, is to be able to commune with your loved ones, and that is a privilege. But I need to share something with you. As I was just blending with the spirit world, I got the impression I needed to speak of this. Because as much as we gather in this community, all hoping for that contact or wishing certain people we know in this community will get a contact, so is the spirit world all gathered together. All your loved ones are here. All your loved ones are around you, but they take a look to the left and the right and they see who needs that contact more than others. And that's where the medium comes in, not to pick and choose, but to be influenced by the power of all that love that they want to come through to inspire those that are in need. But I've got to acknowledge all of us at this time will have a need, but we have to look at that greater need. So as I become aware of the spirit world, I do believe I've got a little bit of a character with me, because I do believe I've got somebody's father. And I know on a Christmas day, he would be he would act a fool. That's the politest way I can put it, because I know he would mimic things that were off the telly or comedians, because I get the impression of Shaking Stevens and Elvis Presley singing. And I want to say that Dad used to mimic them or pretend and do that thing where it's, I'm not even going to do it because I know I'll embarrass myself, but I nearly did. But I know this is the impression I get. So I know I have father. I know he did the impressions, but I also believe that father didn't live to a great age in life, because I know that he had a cancerous condition that took him to the spirit world. But I want to say he hid it. He kept it to himself for the greatest length of time. And it was only towards the end that people really knew how ill he was. And I know from that moment, he didn't seem to want to hang around. I know he passed to the spirit world quite quickly at the end as well. So does anyone on this lovely Sunday gathering understand that?
Thank you very much, Phil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if your soul's giving you that little tug, no, it's me. Go ahead and press your raise hand button.
So I can see nobody's coming
I can see
forward.
nobody's hands are raised.
That's absolutely fine, because I do know I've got father. I do know he has that cancerous condition. I know he kept it to himself and wouldn't want to speak about it. And I know it was captured or caught late. But I just get the impression here. I know that is the impression, but I also get the impression here, what I want to talk about, somebody would understand the surname of Stevens as well.
Very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know I've got you trained well, saying 100% of information, but if nobody's got their hand up, if you've got that little hint that this is for you, go ahead and press your raise hand button. All right, let's talk to Stella, Phil. Stella, if you could press your unmute button.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas, Stella. Do you understand everything I've said, or is there something slightly out?
Everything apart from the surname of Stevens.
Ah, okay, that's fine. But then let me just hold that for a second and let me bring that back in a way you would understand. So you have father in the spirit world. He had that cancer, but I know he liked to imitate and sing along to Shaking Stevens and Elvis and things, like imitate them a little bit.
Yes, that's him.
Okay, because I just get this impression and I couldn't change it. But there must be fond memories of him doing this around the Christmas time.
Yes.
And I also know he loved nothing more than having the family around at Christmas.
Yes.
And if I said that he always kept everyone on the toes, he was that, I don't want to say he was the center of attention, but he kept people's spirits high.
Yes, he did that.
And I also know there's a real gentle and loving side to him as well.
Yes.
Because it feels where I would pull people to a side and make sure they were okay just by putting my arm around them and checking in.
Yes.
Because I don't feel your father was a great man for his words, but it's just those sentimental moments he has.
Yeah, he struggled with words.
I know he did, because I know it's almost where, and I know I can't, but it's the impression he gives me where he just wants to come in and hold you and just say, I'm here. So I know your thoughts have been with him just recently over this Christmas period.
Oh, yes, quite often.
That's fine. But I also know you should have photographs of your dad with the paper hats on at Christmas time.
Oh, I don't know about the paper hats, but maybe somewhere.
Because then would I be right in saying there's photographs of him, not just at Christmas, but other family get-togethers, birthdays and things, where he will be in the center of these photographs?
Oh, yes, he always got on the front page of the paper.
Because I know here it's about being in the center stage on the photograph, and it almost feels where I want to say that I loved the family and that's what made me complete. But I
Yeah.
also feel with your father as well, he didn't have the easiest of lives. There was moments within his life that he felt isolated.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm not going into personal details because I know they're very personal to him, but I want to say he had a resilience and a strength that got him through.
Yes.
And I know your father was a very private man as well,
Oh, yes.
because I know where I mentioned the condition he had, it's almost where I didn't want to worry the family or anybody else.
Oh, that's right.
And I also believe that he's one of those gentlemen, a little bit like myself. You have to coax them to the doctors.
Yeah, something like that.
In fact, I need a crowbar to get him there, because it just feels that, you know what, I'm okay, I can deal with this. It'd be just something, it'd be indigestion. But I know this is what he kept on saying, because people did start to notice his deterioration in his health.
Yes.
But I know your dad was resilient right up until the end, because it's about keeping strength, it's about keeping character, but it's also about his own dignity of being in control and charge.
Yeah.
But I also know your father comes around you, one, because it's Christmas, and I know you still talk to him, and I know as I've been conversing with him, you've told him you've loved him. Is that correct, Stella?
No.
Because I know there's either today or when I've been talking to you, that thought has gone to the spirit world, because I want you to know he loves you too. Because there's just that impression here of where that's taken place in a moment shared just between you and him. And I also get the feeling you were still wishing he was around because he kept everyone alive.
Oh, yes.
Because I know I want to bring that sentimental feeling, but all that positivity in with him. But it's just sense of living and making the most of life. And he takes me back to where we spoke in the address, where I said, it's not about we're looking external, it's looking inside, learning to live life again. And I know that's his message to you, Stella, to make the most of things.
Okay, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Would I be right in saying, just before I leave you, your dad used to tease you when you were young?
Possibly.
Do you know when fathers, I used to do this with my daughter, where I used to pretend to pinch her nose. Would it be right in saying he used to do things like that with you?
Oh, yes.
Because I know he's just wanting to remind you of those moments and say what simple things from life can be fun. And I'm going to leave you with that and say thank you very much, Stella.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
You're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome, Stella. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you, Phil. Of course, Dad as well.
Going to take a drink of Kerry's water.
Take a drink. Take a drink.
That's not water, that's vodka. No, it's only joking. Only joking, ladies and gentlemen. It's good water, is that, as somebody would say. Good. Let's have a look here. Okay, so as I become aware of the spirit world again, I know here that I have Mother with me. And I know Mother is a very strong-minded lady. And I know she's also a very private lady, because as I get to know her, it's almost like she would vet people before she would divulge anything. And she'd rather talk about other people here. And I also know it's an illness that takes her to the spirit world. But again, I don't want to feel I want to talk about it. But I get the sense that Mum would have worked in either retail, in a retail business of some sort. I don't feel she owned it, but I feel, in fact, I want to say she would have, let me just look at this for a second, ladies. I feel that Mother would have worked in a charity shop of some kind, because that's the feeling I get with it. So somebody would understand Mother in the spirit world, very strong-minded, not really worried what other people think, but I know she would have worked within a charity shop of some kind of retail or shop like that.
Thank you very much. And for Americans, it's like a thrift shop kind of place. All right. Well, let you take a moment if you want to press your raise hand buttons. You can understand this information. And we have our friend Lisa with her hand raised, Phil. Okay. Hi, Lisa. Oh, we also have Mick with their hand raised. Let me just, we have a few. So Lisa, hang on 1 second till Phil narrows this down. Okay. We have now 3 people with their hands raised.
I want to say thank you, Sandra, not just from me, but from the spirit world, for everything you do during these demonstrations. It's really important that we share that with you. Okay, so let's just have a look here. I actually want to go back to something I've already said, where Mum was strong-minded, because each time I go in and try and press into personal areas, I feel that Mum, and in fact, I'm not going to repeat her words. I don't feel she swore, but I'm being told to keep my, I'm going to use a different word, ruddy nose out. So in other words, I know that she could be very strong-minded. But I just want to say that Mum wouldn't discuss family business either. I know she was that private lady. And when I say, it's almost where Mum didn't want to know, the person I need to speak to, it's almost like Mum wouldn't want to really know who was at fault with things. It's just I want to deal with things factually and move on. So I know she could be rather blunt.
Okay, 1 hand went down. We have Lisa and Janet. Oh, Janet's hand went down. Lisa's hand remains up.
Okay,
let's
speak to
Lisa.
Lisa.
Okay, Lisa. Now,
hi, Kerry. Hi, Phil. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Lisa. It feels like you're part of the family. We've spoken to you so many times. So I'm asking the spirit
Everybody's up
world.
there.
I know. But I'm asking the spirit world to do something a little bit different for me, for my own peace of mind here. So you understand everything I've said about Mother.
Yes.
And would you understand where I want to stay with Mother? She could be rather blunt and to the point.
Yes.
And if I said she didn't agree with it, she would tell you straight to your face, and it wouldn't be always the nicest words.
Yes.
Because I just get the impression here with her. And I know you said they're all in the spirit world, because I just hear John calling out to be remembered to you as well. But I know with Mum, as I stay with her for that little bit longer, I know that, would I be also right saying with your Mum that she was very independent?
Yes.
And when I say independent, she must have lived on her own for some time.
Yes.
Because it feels where I don't want to, and I'm not saying she swore, but there's certain words that are very close to swear words.
Yes.
That's fine, just in case, Sandra, they slip out, because I don't mean it. But I know here, and where I said that if she had something to say, and sometimes it wasn't always the kindest words, sometimes it was brutally truthful.
Yes.
And I want to say this wasn't just to family members. This could be anybody she encountered.
Yes.
And I know we say that everyone goes to the spirit world and progresses, but we also say as well, they don't change, because I know your mum is exactly the same here. And I also know your mum could be quite difficult at times to deal with.
Yes.
Because I'm saying to her, come on, please come forward. But she's doing her own thing. This is how she is, and she will not change. And I actually feel she enjoys being awkward.
Yes. Like her daughter.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, glad you said that, because I know I heard something before and I thought I can't say that. But I know here, and if I said that Mum wasn't always enamored with little gifts, sometimes she would be, you could see or hear the disappointment.
Yes.
Because I feel with your mum, like I said right at the beginning, it feels like I'm having to get to know her. It feels like I'm having to pass a test before she opens up to me.
Yes. Yes.
Because I know that your mum, please forgive me here, Lisa, your mum suffered at hands of other people in her younger life.
Yes.
Because I know she lived a hard life and was brought up, and I want to say Mum was either brought up with in her family where she had brothers. Would that make sense?
Yes.
And I want to say she was the only girl.
Yes.
Because it feels where Mum got a bit of a hard time and her feelings weren't taken into account, and she had to fit in with the males of the household.
Yes.
And I want to say that it's almost where Mum and Dad would give the boys more preferential treatment than your mum, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it
Absolutely.
feels here that it's not that I want to talk about the story of Cinderella, but it feels like that sort of treatment where I wasn't treated very well.
Yes.
And I feel that in early life, she got involved with other people, men, males, that didn't also treat her right as well.
Yes.
Because I want to say your mum's reminded me of my Christmas several years ago, where she had Christmases like that. But I want to say it's about the living. And I want to say that you made her extremely happy and proud, but I know that she wasn't able to voice her emotions easily.
Yes.
And I want to say that your mum never expressed her delight and love towards you.
Yes.
Because I actually feel it's her biggest regret, because she's so proud of you. And I know she's seen your journey over the last few years, how life has been tough for you. And that's why she's come forward. Because I know, and I'm repeating your words, that you have a lot of people in the spirit world and they're all thinking about you. But it's your mum that's chose to come forward to let you know how she's feeling, or you're feeling, that acknowledgement from the spirit world. I also know you have a husband in the spirit world as well.
Yes.
And I know I brought him through before. I know I'm just talking on his behalf. He's not coming forward. It is Mum here. Mum was the one that got you to pull your socks up and get on with things, and never gave you a choice. You had to do it.
Yes.
Because I know that's what Mum's bringing today, is that feeling. She's here to lift you up and take you forward in life. I'm going to leave you with that contact, Lisa, and say thank you very much.
Thank
Okay?
you, Phil. I know
You're
my
welcome.
mom was pushing Daryl back, so he gave her the stage because that's how she was.
Okay. Well, I'm not one to argue with the spirit world. There was no way of getting an edge in any different. So thank you. And Merry
Yeah.
Christmas, Lisa.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Phil.
Going to have another drink of McLeod's whiskey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, I do believe I've got somebody's son here, and I know that there was a little bit of distance between son and mother, because it feels I want to talk to mother. It feels that son was growing up, and I know son, I get the impression, would have passed around the Christmas time, and I feel things weren't sorted out before he passed, and I know he wants to come forward and make that connection here. But I just feel son could also be a little bit stubborn at times and hard work, because it's almost where I know I was in the wrong and I should have admitted it.
Thank you, Phil. All right, who can understand this information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button, please.
Mhm.
Give it just a moment. No hands up just yet, Phil.
Okay, so let's just have a look, because I know it took a few moments before people came forward. In fact, I've got something, just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, I've got something I need to just look at again. I've got my soul's taking me back somewhere. That's fine. I know I have son in the spirit world. I'm not going to change that. I can't change the relation because I do feel that's right. I know there was either, I've got something wrong here. I know there was a period of time where we didn't talk or we fell out. And I know we didn't see each other at a Christmas. But I know I want to say it was either resolved and we spoke, but I know he seems to pass very quickly, almost like an accident, to the spirit world. So I know this is memories, and he's trying to find, I do feel I've got someone wanting to talk to Mum.
Thank you, Phil.
So I hope everyone's listening.
I know. Sometimes people step away to make a cup of coffee or tea and come back like, oh, that's for me.
And if we're nervous about speaking, don't be. The worst thing you're going to see is me.
We have Anne with her hand raised. Anne, if you can find that unmute button and press it. Hi,
there.
Anne. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Hi.
Hello. Merry Christmas, Anne. Do you understand everything I've said?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so you have son in the spirit world, and I want to say he was quite a grown gentleman when he passed, but I know it was an accident. Would you understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand where there's a period of time where we didn't speak? And I want to say there was one Christmas where either we didn't see each other or didn't speak.
Yes.
Because
I do.
I know that's fine, because it's just his way of bringing that in. But if I said your son could be quite stubborn as well,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's fine, because he wouldn't let me change anything. He wouldn't let me rework on anything. There was just one little area I need to look at. But I want to say that sometimes, even when he was wrong and he knew it was wrong, he wouldn't back down, because that's how strong-minded he was.
Yes.
Okay, but I want to say underneath, I want to say that he, and also bear with me, also with your son, Anne, he struggled with his words as well.
At times. Yeah.
Because, and when I say words, I want to be more clear. I want to talk about his emotions.
Correct. Yes.
Because I just feel with him that you either take him as he is or you don't at all. He's that way. And it's not that he's being horrible, but this is how he was with people.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah.
Good. Because I just get that impression. But it's almost on the other hand, when he was in the right frame of mind, he could talk, he could entertain people, and he could be quite civilized as well.
Yes, very friendly, loving, outgoing.
Absolutely, because it's almost this sense where he has to get to know people before he comes out of himself. And I want to say, once you get to know him quite professionally as well, he was everything that you've just said and more. Because sometimes it's almost like that fallout, the way that he could be, just doesn't feel right with him. It just feels that, would I be right in saying your son wouldn't explain things either?
At times, yeah.
Because he's not explaining anything to me, and I'm just saying,
Okay.
because it's just the way that he wants to be and is, and it's all down to him and the right timing. And I also know as well, where other people could find it a little bit awkward, he was quite okay with it.
Yeah. I
Because because I know that's just how he comes through as I get to know him as well. But I also know that he wasn't one for saying sorry either.
not at the time. He has in the spirit world when
I know
he's,
he has, because
yeah.
that's what I know, that's what he's just about to do, because he just said, it's not in my character to do this, but I am sorry for everything that I've caused as well. And sometimes it wasn't just his actions, he would almost be a little bit off with people and upset them, but yet either you paved the way or trying to smooth it over for him.
That is correct, for a
Okay.
long time. Yeah.
Because I know here that's what he's really apologizing for, is how you had to do things, because I didn't. In fact, I'm going to repeat his words I've just been told to, because sometimes I wasn't the man I needed to be. Okay.
Oh, yes.
But I
Yes.
want to say something from him personally, that I couldn't have asked for a better mum. Even
Oh,
when I didn't agree with you and I was saying you were wrong, you were right, because your son learned the hard way on a few occasions.
thank you. No, he's been one of my greatest teachers. So,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But also, and I'm going to use your words, you have been his greatest teacher, even after he's passed, he's informed me there as well. So I know that feeling is very mutual. Like I said, your son can be strong-minded, could be stubborn. He says what he says, and that is it. But I know there's still people here that I need to say sorry to myself, he says. And in good time, I will do that through other mediums or in a way that personally happens as well. I know your son said a few harsh words to you at times as well.
Yes. Yes. There we had quite an up and down journey.
Because he's just said, I wish I could take every single word back, and I wish I could replace them with I love yous. And I know there's been times where you've wanted, your heart and souls wanted to be with him in the spirit world because you miss him terribly. He knows that feeling, and this is why he's apologizing and wants to replace those words. I also know you have photographs of him that you talk to, and you have kids, like Sandra mentioned earlier as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Because again, there's this impression here of his being around you. And would I be right in saying you have either a Christmas bauble or something you place on a tree, or a Christmas ornament that is particular to your son?
Yes. Several.
Okay, but there's one, there must be one that has his name on or his picture on.
Yes, there is, from a preschool. Yeah.
That's
Preschool
fine,
pic.
because I know it's very sentimental and it's the one that sticks out, and I know it's very he must have made it.
Yes, he did.
Because again, whatever happens, that always gets center stage.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know that's where he's placing you. And I'm not here to work with you psychically, but I know your son has just given me information about you, and I'm not going to divulge it, all of it, on air, but I just feel here that where life has been a little bit of a struggle personally, he says, my job is to fix that now. My job is to make you feel like you tried to make me feel, which was alive and loved and well. Your son wants that happiness and success for the year coming up. But I also feel as well, he doesn't accept no for an answer. So I know that that journey, that ride of next year will just be the best he can produce for you as well. one last thing. Would I be right in saying that he gave you either single chocolates or a chocolate in particular, which was your favorite at Christmas?
Oh gosh, no, I can't think of the particular one. I'm sure he has, but
There's just something about not giving you a full box. I'm not spoiling you. I'm not being the milk tray man, but I know it's about giving you single chocolates, almost like I think so. There must be either some kind of variety box of chocolates. One of them is your favorite because I know he keeps on placing them, and I'm not sure if it's some kind of liqueur chocolate that you like,
okay.
because I
Or
know. In
thank
fact,
you.
you're absolutely welcome, but he's leaving you with that. So I want to say, watch where you come across that single liqueur chocolate, because I know the spirit world are trying to give you those signs that he's around, and I know he wants to do it over this Christmas period.
Oh, I appreciate that, and I do feel his love, and we're on this journey together. So thank you. What a beautiful Christmas gift. I appreciate
Merry
you all.
Christmas to you, Anne, and it's an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure to work with your son. And I'm going to leave his love with you and his strong-mindedness for the new year. Brilliant.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you
Good.
very much.
Well, Miss Sandra Champlain, I'm going to hand you over to Miss Merry Christmas, humbug herself. No, only joking. She's full of life and Christmas. Miss Kerry McLean.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you so much. Yeah, she's filled with life and love. And it is Christmas. Let's not forget. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yay. Hello, Kerry.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have thought at the beginning of 2020 that we'd be spending Christmas, all of us, you included, that we'd be spending Christmas 2022 together? I would never have guessed it, and I call myself a psychic. There you go. So it is absolutely a pleasure to be here on Christmas Day with you. It is nice to take some time out and spend it working with the spirit world. And I know, as I was watching Phil work, I feel I have husband here, and I know from husband, I get the great sense about him being a little bit of a jokester. I know Phil brought through a gentleman earlier on that was a little bit of a jokester, but I know I have a bit of a jokester here. But I also know that husband would leave you a special little treat to find on Christmas Day. There's a special thing that he would do as an occasion for Christmas Day that you would have to go searching for this present, or there was a special surprise every Christmas Day for you.
Oh, how nice. All right. Who can understand this wonderful information? Press your raise hand button, of course. All right, we've got our friend Lisa with her hand back up. Kerry.
I have to be honest, Sandra, I have worked with Lisa's husband before, and this doesn't feel like him.
Yay. I didn't want to, I was hoping somebody would raise their hand.
All right. Oh, sorry, Lisa, I accidentally cut you off there. Thank you very much. And thank you, Kerry. Of course, he's with you.
Thank you, Lisa, for putting your hand up, and thank you for gifting it to somebody else as well. It is a very generous thing to do. But I do know I've got husband here, and I know that there would be a special something that husband would do for his wife every single Christmas. I do believe somebody is not putting up their hand.
All right, Ilsa has her hand up. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So Ilsa, you understand husband in the spirit world?
Yes.
You understand that he would do a special little something for you every Christmas Day?
There is something every Christmas that happens, yes.
Okay, because I know I've got this sense of this Christmas you were remembering how, had he still been physically here, that he would have done this for you.
Yeah. Now I totally know it's right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
And I know this morning when you woke up, I know
Yeah.
it's Christmas Day, but I want to say the first thing you did when you woke up was say Merry Christmas to your husband.
Yes.
And I know that you felt him or you sensed him and you hoped that he was with you.
Yes.
Please know he was absolutely there. I also know, Ilse, you would know where your husband would have a dog with him in the spirit world.
Yes.
Because I know that you were wondering whether, in fact, there's more than one dog there, Ilse.
I think so. Yeah. He had dogs. Yeah.
Okay, because I know I can hear the pitter patter of a number of different feet of different dogs here. But I want to say your husband had a bit of a cheeky sense of humor.
Yes.
Because I know that he would have teased people where any visitors to your home on Christmas Day or that festive period would not know if he was joking or not.
Yeah.
And I know he wouldn't be the quickest to put them at ease. It's like he relished them squirming a little bit.
Yes.
But there's not a bad bone in his body. I do know he is just very, very funny. And he loves people, actually. I know your husband loves people and he understands people.
Yeah, that's correct.
And he understood them to the way that he knew how to press buttons. How to
Yes.
set off triggers. And I need to say, Ilse, he knew your triggers like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
Because I know that not necessarily at Christmas time, but throughout the year, he would purposely do things that would create a reaction in you.
Yes.
But I also hear him laughing, so that he must have very quickly on the back of that been able to resolve and turn things around.
Yes, that's correct.
He feels like a man who he would have liked the sound of his own voice as well, because I do know that he liked to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Because I can hear him laughing and speaking and joking here. But he, regardless of whatever else was happening, he absolutely adored you.
Yes.
And that was the only way he could get away with teasing you, is because you knew he adored you.
Yes.
You must have the memory, Elsa, of a Christmas present that he put into a box and then covered with a bow.
Covered with it?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, my daughter says yes.
Because as I pick that off, you must also have had a memory where I do not believe that you got a puppy for Christmas, but there must have been a joke. Elsa, did you say your daughter was there with you?
Yes.
Would it be okay to work with her for a second?
Yes, it's all right.
Okay. Because you sound very young, so I just need to check with your mum.
I'm 19. So
She's 19.
Okay, well that's okay. You're almost a grown-up, aren't you?
yeah.
I'm nearly a grown-up. I know your dad wants to share with you the memories too of where he would have given you cuddly toys as if they were pets.
Yes, that's right.
And I know this morning you must have on your own, aside from being with your mum, you must have had a little conversation with your dad in private.
Yes.
Because I know he was over your shoulder listening to you and lapping up all of the words you were saying to him. When you were having your meal today, I know there must have been a conversation where you both reflect. There was more than just the two of you at dinner, though.
We were just by the two of us.
You were just the two of us then. Then you must have laid out a place for your dad and your husband.
I was thinking about doing that and I didn't, but I was thinking of doing that.
Okay, then I know that this sense of there being three, in actual fact four, because he's bringing the dog. I know the sense of there being the three human beings round there was absolutely real and matter of fact. You didn't have to pretend it actually was that way, and you sat down and you started watching a Christmas movie but switched it off.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's his way of saying, I was there, I saw it, don't doubt it. And I
Yes.
know tomorrow you must have plans to be seeing members of his family.
No, 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 no,
Really?
no.
Then
Someone
would
else.
you, okay, then you know tomorrow there must be somebody
Yes.
your husband and your dad knew that is coming, that
Yeah.
you're going to see or
Yeah,
speak
I know.
to.
This is amazing. Yeah, I totally
But
get.
it feels like family. It feels like coming together. It feels like your husband and your dad are very excited about this.
Yes, that would
There's-
that's
I
something-
totally get this.
There's something
Very.
very, very special. I know every Christmas is special, and when we have people in the spirit world, they take on a different kind of specialness. Please know that this is your dad and your husband's way of saying, I'm there, please, 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 do not doubt it. And that little ditty bit of alcohol that you said, cheers to me. So
Yeah.
Elsa, I'm speaking to you. You said a little cheers to your husband in the spirit world. He
Yes.
said cheers back.
Yes. Thank you very much, Kerry.
You are very welcome. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much, Elsa, and your daughter.
Thank you.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I do feel like I am looking for somebody who has mum and grandmother, but also daughter in the spirit world. And I know that all three are coming in. I actually feel like I have the biggest crowd coming in right now because I can feel them all drawing in. But I'm looking for somebody who would have mum and grandmother and daughter in the spirit world.
Thank you, Kerry. Okay, we have our friend Ramona with her hand raised. Ramona, if you could unmute yourself, my friend. Merry Christmas,
Hello.
Ramona.
Oh, Merry Christmas to y'all too.
Hi, Ramona. So you would understand
Hello.
daughter and mum and grandmother in the spirit world?
Yeah, my mom is in the spirit world, so is my grandmother, and so is my sister, her daughter.
Okay. Can I just check, Sandra? There isn't, because I actually feel like I have mum, grandmother, and whoever's in our audience that they have a daughter in the spirit world.
Oh,
Hold
Thank
on.
you, Ramona.
Just
Let's
stay
just
where you are. All right.
okay.
Okay, I'm going to lower everyone's hands because a number of hands have gone up, Kerry. So you
So
have your
all the hands that are up understand that their daughter is in the spirit world, that their mum is in the spirit world, and that their grandmother is in the spirit world.
Thank you very much. All right, we have Elizabeth, Fran, Susan, and Shauna. Just in case any one of you have your hand raised accidentally.
Okay.
And Geraldine.
Then one of you would understand that your daughter would have had a period where she withdrew from the world before she transitioned to the spirit world. I feel like she had I doesn't feel like depression. It just feels like I withdrew a little bit from interacting with people.
Thank you very much. Ladies, I'm going to lower everyone's hands. Quite a number of hands went up. If you can take 100% of this information, as well as your daughter withdrawing a bit from life before she passed, go ahead and press your raise hand button again. Just give it a moment. All right, we have Susan and Shauna with their hands raised.
Okay. And I need to say as well that daughter would have had a very different view of the world. I feel like there was a real individuality about her. I do not feel she would have been into pop. I think she might have been into alternative music.
Thank you very much. Ladies, still understand that information? Hands remain raised. Would you like to hear their voices, Kerry, or too soon?
Let's just check that both can if you bring them in, Sandra, that'd be great, and we'll just check through the information.
Okay. So Susan and Shauna, if you could press your unmute buttons, please. All right. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Susan. Hi,
Hello.
Shauna. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So, Susan, you understand daughter in the spirit world
Yes,
and mother and grandmother.
yes,
And Shauna, you understand daughter in the spirit world
Yes,
and mother and grandmother.
yes,
And do you both understand that daughter would have been very withdrawn before she passed?
yes.
yes,
But I feel like there was an illness in daughter as well.
yes,
And Susan, do you understand that?
A psychological illness.
And Shauna, would your daughter, she would have gone to hospital for treatment?
yes.
Okay. Sandra, I know we're a little bit short of time, but I actually feel like I need to work with one and then the other. Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
So, Susan, can I work with you first and then Shauna, I'll work with you?
Yes,
So, Susan, I know that your daughter, because I can feel both daughters here, and I actually feel they have come in together, which is lovely, because for today, it really is about supporting each other in the community. But Susan, I get the sense that your daughter would have been really, really strong-minded.
extremely.
And I feel like you would not have been able to prize her away once she'd made her mind up about something.
Yes, absolutely.
And Susan, you would know where some of her friends you did not particularly agree with their company.
Oh, yes, yes.
Because I get the sense of you would have spoken to her and she would have, I'm not going to do it here, but she would have almost given you the hand and said, speak to the hand.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I need to say that there is such a sense within your daughter of that strength of character. She needs you to know in a good way, she hasn't lost any of it.
Yes, I know.
And that there is a stubbornness about her that she will not go anywhere that isn't got you in it.
Oh, definitely.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly important that she lets you know that she is there. I
Okay.
know that this morning you must have played some of her playlist or some of her songs.
Yes, yes.
And in that music, you could almost imagine her singing and dancing to the songs.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're not your type of music, because I can get the sense that it's not really a dance. It's more of a shuffle type thing.
Yeah, I didn't like her music at all.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I don't particularly like it either, but there's a great sense with your daughter of this. She was not going to miss this opportunity of speaking with you and reminding you of the Christmases. Susan, you must know where one Christmas your daughter created a situation that kind of stole the joy out of the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
I feel it in her soul. I know her eyes are rolling. Phil says my eyes roll out loud, but I know your daughters did as well. But there's a real sense of appreciation for who you are and how you dealt with that. Please do not feel that anything that you did contributed to where your daughter's emotions headed to. Your daughter knew better, and it was a sequence of choices she made. You understand what she's saying?
Yes, yes.
There's a very real need for your daughter to be sharing this moment with you and to say thank you for remembering me in the good times.
Thank you so much, Kerry. I really, really appreciate it.
Please know that this is your daughter's way of saying Merry Christmas, Mom, and Merry Christmas to everybody else there. I know she upset some people in the family.
Yes,
she's incredibly sorry, because not because of what she did, but because of the situation it put you in.
Yes. Okay.
So please take the love of your daughter, and I'm going to say thank you for allowing me to do that for you, Susan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this so much. I needed it today.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Shauna,
Let's have Shauna press her unmute button. There you are. Hi, Shauna.
Yes. Yes. Hello.
Hi, Shauna. I know as I was working with the your daughter was stubborn, but in a different way. She's in a very quiet way, not as outspoken, but I know she was a little bit stubborn.
Very, yes.
And I know Susan's daughter was very outspoken, but I feel like your daughter was a little bit more reserved, Shauna.
Yes, she was.
And I know with your daughter, there is a strength of character. And you know, that she must have said to you, Mum, I am going to make it as long as I can.
Yes.
But she must have just missed a very special day.
I don't know whether she missed it or not. She might have.
So would you know where your daughter passed to the spirit world before a special day within the family?
She wanted to be there on time for an anniversary.
Okay,
I
because
think
I
she
know I get the sense from her that I'm sorry I didn't make it to that
didn't
day.
make it. Yes.
But I
Yes.
know that during that celebration, if it was an anniversary, I know during that celebration, there was obviously a heaviness within your heart, but I know that you knew she was there with you.
Yes.
Because she gives me the sense of, my mum and I had a conversation. My mum was speaking to me. You must have spoken to your daughter, Shauna, about the afterlife and about what life after death was.
Yes.
Because I know that she had her own ideas about what the life after death was going to be like.
Right.
I know it's not quite as she thought it was, and she can't do all the things. There must have been a memory with you and your daughter, Shauna, of ice skating.
Yeah, there was. Yes.
Because I know that she's ice skating on clouds. I can't prove this. And like, would you remember the conversation, Shauna, about your daughter? She wanted to do everything in her childhood all over again in the spirit world.
Yes.
Because I have this sense with her that you need to know that everything she spoke to you about, she has managed to do, as well as you must have had quite in-depth conversations, Shauna, about what happens after we die.
We did have that conversation.
She wants to tell you thank you, because you were one of the few people she could have those conversations about life with. And that means the world to her, because you and her can have those conversations after physical death for her that still keeps her very much feeling part of the family.
Yes.
And I know on this day, families come together, seen and unseen, but please know she is in your home. Shauna, where you have the Christmas, in fact, you must have wondered whether you wanted to put up the Christmas tree this year, Shauna.
Yes, true.
Because where you had to move your Christmas tree, where you had to move the furniture to put your Christmas tree in, I know Sandra talked about her Christmas tree falling over, but there must have been baubles or things kept falling off the tree.
Yes, there were.
This is your daughter's way of saying, I might not have physically been there, but I definitely helped you put up the tree and knocking things off. I don't actually think she knocked them off, Shauna. It's her way of saying she saw what was happening.
Oh, my goodness.
Please know that for all day so far and all for the rest of the day, and as long as you want her to, she's going to be in your home with your family.
Right. And she's with my mom. She's with her grandmother.
She absolutely is. She's brought your mom and her grandmother along. But I know that there is a sense of that coming together. But I know your mom and your grandmother felt, as Sandra said at the beginning, or was it Phil, the need was for your daughter to speak to you.
I see.
So they bring the power and that love for your daughter to work within.
Very good.
Thank you for allowing me to do that, Shauna.
Thank you very much,
Merry
and Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure for us. You coming in.
I am coming in.
It's an absolute pleasure for us to be able to do this. I know it's Christmas Day. I know we have family in the spirit world. We also have family waiting in the house for us to go in and see. We know that this day can be a little bit tough. It could have its blessings and its joys, but we want you to do our part in being part of your Christmas. So thank you for allowing us to do that.
Yes, thank you. And we'll
Thank
hand
you.
back to Sandra.
And hand it back to me. Just some announcements. The medium demonstration is always so valuable, but I want to offer something to you guys. Join one of our classes. You know what this feels like on our Sunday gathering. I hope we feel like family to you. This is how we are in classes as well. You know, it's wonderful to hope and wait for communication to come through, but you can join us in one of our medium classes, and Kerry and Phil teach you from the ground up how it works, how your soul receives information. You work with people in the breakout rooms. You learn the difference between psychic and mediumship. And of course, everybody's nervous. That's part of being human. But if you're willing to be wrong, if you're willing to play with your imagination, because that's how our loved ones work, if you're willing to be of service and just explore, you don't have to be somebody who intends on being a medium. No. But as a human being, you can enjoy just some of the gifts of your soul. So join in, come, medium classes are just wonderful with Kerry and Phil. They're also doing a brand new class for everybody. And these classes start mid-January called New Year, New Start. So it's just between you, your soul, your journey, and of course, again, with Kerry and Phil, who are so loving. Not just great mediums and teachers, but they have been in the transformation business for a long time. They don't believe in resolutions, so we can set those aside, but it really is empowering you in this brand new year to have a new start. And they're just great. We love them. We just love you guys. Also on Mondays, starting January 9th, Scott Milligan will be doing his Trance and the Altered States classes. So details for everything coming up are at wedon'tdie.com. Never feel alone, because there's over 500 episodes. If you like my voice, talking to people about the evidence of the afterlife and helping people through grief. Also, I am so thrilled. We had well over 100 people here with us today on our Sunday gathering. We didn't know. We wanted to offer our Sunday service, even if 3 people showed up, even if it was just us 3 with eggnog. But I'm really proud and pleased and happy and feel very honored that you have all chosen to be with us today for a little while. So thank you for that. And last, I wanted to say thank you so much for your donations. We don't beg you for them, but I want to tell you, those of you who have been generous to donate, you've helped us with our technology to hold these, because it's a pretty big Zoom room we use, and to get it out in the world. There's some weeks that airing it on live and then airing it, people watching the replays, and then people who watch it and on YouTube and on Vimeo, it could be a couple of thousand people that hear the good words. So thank you for that. And for those people who have asked how eggnog is over my shoulder, there is something on the computer you can download from Snapchat. And this is just one of the filters. So when I tune into Zoom, it asks me which camera that I want to use. And I put the Snapchat one, and who knows who might be on my side next Sunday, because we will have a New Year's Day Sunday gathering. So you can be all cozy and be with us again 1 week from today. So I'm going to send it over to Kerry and Phil.
There has been an absolute gem put into our hearts by being here. It's wonderful to take time out of our day to spend with a community that has become part of who we are. That's you and you and you. Thank you from our home to yours, whether you're across the Atlantic, whether you're south of the equator, or whether you're over in another continent. Thank you for being here. It really is about being together, whether you've got physical family with you or whether you've got your spirit family with you. Thank you for bringing all your family into being part of ours. Merry Christmas.
I'm trying to think of some really wise words that I can share with you for your week ahead in this special time. Don't eat too much. Definitely don't drink too much because your clothes won't fit. But actually, it's about enjoying yourselves, enjoying yourself in the moment, being true to who you are, reflecting on those loved ones that may be in the spirit world now and what they gave you, as in happiness, as in those joyful memories, but make the most of those people that are here and now. Even if that means picking up the telephone and ringing somebody in a different country, a different continent, just to say hello, how are you? Because it could be the making of their day and could be the best Christmas present they might receive. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts, but I'm going to leave you with a smile. We love you. Thank you.
Oh, we do love you. And my thought to just leave you with is act as if. You know, if you put your hands on your hips for 30 seconds, you actually feel powerful. If you put a smile on your face for 30 seconds, you actually start feeling happy. Well, what if we all lived life, and maybe not with an eggnog over our shoulder, but living life that our loved ones, even though we can't see them, that they're with us. Keep them involved in the conversation. Know that you're going to see them again. Know that they're experiencing the joy and magic of Christmas and every day with you. But how would your life be acting as if? Because someday you'll find out they were with you. So we can get a jump on things. And I do know that that also helps us with grief. So that's my words. And of course, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Day. Yes, it is. Let's not forget it's Christmas. So over to my friends for the closing prayer.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Yes, and it is Christmas. So let's finish our gathering and start the rest of our Christmas day in prayer. As we sit within we'll start again. As we sit within this Christmas festive spirit with a laugh in our hearts and clearly one in my throat, then we can come together, enter into that space with laughter and with love. Christmas is about sharing. So allow us to share and share. Amen.
Amen. Do you know who you reminded me of for a second when you stuttered with your words? Joe from Dudley. She's one of the listeners here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Merry
yes.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all. We love you. We're going to have our closing song. And I'm glad Phil picked this one because it's a newer one from Elton John and Ed Sheeran. Oh, one last Merry Christmas. And if we can all just go run out and raise a glass of your favorite beverage and we'll cheers each other. We'll cheers our loved ones that are with us, the ones that can't be with us, and the ones in the spirit world. We'll all be there holding a glass together. We love you all. Kerry and Phil, love you so much. And we will see you in 2023. Oh my goodness. Bye, everyone.